Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. How is everybody doing? I hope you've had a great week. It's been going pretty good for me, so I'm kind of in a good mood. Somebody was talking about the Zors. Yeah, so it's like a hybrid between a horse and a zebra. Apparently you could sort of ride them and stuff. I think I've had those on a little while ago. One thing interesting is those hybrids, they didn't used to be fertile, but now more and more of them are fertile. And so like, oh, well, if it's the such and such is the male, then it's fertile. Or I think they're all just going to be fertile in the end. One that I saw recently that I think I saved it on my list, but I didn't have it on for today, but you probably heard of the liger. But one thing I've noticed is that they're, they were always big, but they're bigger now, I think. I think they've definitely gotten larger. So apparently ligers can be 1,000 pounds, even like 1,200 pounds. So that's the size of the average, like the weight of the average horse. So this one's a liger here. And I think before there was only the one-way breeding, but now the other way it can also be bred. So I forgot which one the liger was, but it's the opposite one. So I'm thinking, can we ride these? I bet you we're going to be able to ride them soon. Because, if they weigh 1,000 pounds and we can ride pigs now. Because before they used to say the pigs had the delicate hooves and you'd strain their back and, oh, you can't sit on them. And now you just got people galloping all over Dodge, Mississippi on the back of pigs. And nobody complaining, literally, So everything is tougher now. I have a feeling we're going to be riding some ligers. See, she's standing up. So this little petite girl, she should be able to ride that liger. I bet you if you gave them a little snacky every time you got on their back, they're like, okay, go for it. Let me look up that. So I think they were saying one of them now is fertile. You can see I was just looking at it not too long ago. Male lion and female tiger. So there was some kind of storyline where it was one of those two. It was like one of the ones not involved that has the enzyme that slows down growth. So when you have a male lion and a female tiger, nobody has the enzyme, and that's why they get bigger. The opposite hybrid was tigon. So that's interesting. So now they're saying, because it used to be the liger was the biggest one, but now they're saying here that the tigon is the biggest. A male tiger and a lioness is the largest of all. So tigons are bigger. They enjoy swimming, characteristic of tigers, but are sociable like lions. Okay, let's see. So I need to look up tigon then, because are they even larger than the... I'm pretty sure they were saying one of these now can be bred. This is interesting because there's not really... Oh, nice. So it's got a tiger with a lion's mane. That's cool. That's really cool. There's not many images of these. You'd think there'd be... You'd think at least some countries would be making a bunch of tigons. Oh, there's an interesting one. Why is this one so blonde? This one has dark... This one looks more lion-y. Is this also a tigon? Yeah, I don't think we've really looked at tigons before. I vaguely remember covering them. So we don't have a lot of size range on these. Let's see what this says. lion, tiger, liger, greater than 90 pounds. All right, now they're saying tigons are the smaller ones. Okay, so maybe did I read it wrong, or was there just some kind of glitch in the wiki? So ligers are still the big ones, but tigons are the cool looking ones. Wait, so if a tigon, that's interesting. It's the male is a tiger, but it still gets the male lion's mane somehow. Even though there's no male lion involved, it still gets some mane. There's going to be some interesting situations with these. All right. Well, that wasn't even my original schedule, but here you go. Yeah, Okapis. When did they show up? Some years ago, but definitely they keep changing too. So when did I first hear of those? It was kind of earlier on, but they keep changing. They weren't that weird. There was only like a few images of them when they first showed up. Oh, they've gotten darker. Interesting. Ooh, they are a lot darker. So when they first showed up, this is interesting. They were giraffe colored. Even lighter than this, like how giraffes are. Oh, interesting. So then they said there's a rumor that they were like a half giraffe. That was one of the stories. But no evidence of it. Look at all the AI. I think this one's AI. Pretty sure that one's AI. Yeah, it's starting that one. I'm almost sure that one's AI. They're going to have to do something about it because it's really starting to infest everything. Okay, so these have changed. They got more stripes. They got darker. And they grew these, hopefully that's not an AI. They grew these horns. For the males, I would assume, because I don't see it on all of them. See, that's an AI also. This is really starting to be a pain in the butt. Oh, it looks like they're getting bumps on their head like giraffes. Interesting. Wait, so that one, is that the horns or is that just bumps? Wait, let me look at these horns again. I gotta find one that does not look like AI. You know, I can still kind of tell the AI, but it is definitely getting harder. Wait. I thought I saw one up here that had a full set of horns. That looked like normal horns. Where did that go? Didn't I just see that? Hopefully it wasn't AI. You know, I'm not seeing it now. I thought I saw one that had like just the black horns. Oh, come on now. Wasn't it just up here? Now it's starting to bug me. I swear I saw one up here. Dang, now it all has those giraffe bump horns now. Dang, that's an AI, so that wasn't it. You know, I don't see that one I thought I just saw. Oh, is it going to be one of those kind of nights? Okay, so it looks like the thing that the giraffes have those bumps, this thing's going to have horns at the bumps, like little mini horns. Looks like it. Oh, they got that super long, creepy ass tongue too. When did that show up? Not too long ago. Was the latest edition. I think that one is AI. They're, these stock images like Adobe and stuff, they are absolutely saturated with AIs. One of the things about AI is that the images are usually a little just too crisp and too well done. So that's one of it. That, like, there's it doesn't have the usual out of focus section that a real one would normally have. Like, this stuff back here would be in better focus if the AI did it. Okay, so I guess that's it. We're going to get horns right there where... Yeah, that's exactly it. More stripes further up towards the butt. Yeah, giraffes have the knobby things. No, you know what? It doesn't look like the horns are AI. I think they've grown out more in the current timeline. Horn zombie rabbits. I've had those on before. So it's some kind of a virus that causes horns to grow, which I think is an AI scam. But if you remember Tree Man, who had all those weird growths, he was like the progenitor storyline of that, where he has this rare disease where his body does not keep such and such virus in check, and then all these horn things grow. Well, why would a virus cause horns to grow on your body? But the reality's been shopping that storyline for a while, and now it's everything. And other people would sometimes grow them, so there's like this image of this old lady with a horn, and it's from that same virus. So now we got rabbits full of them. Where's it gonna go to with all these crazy horns? So they often say the virus isn't really super dangerous, but I guess if you get enough of them, it's hard to walk and stuff. I'm sorry, I don't have any control over those. So I have it set to put one ad in the beginning, but it's not supposed to put anywhere else. So, and it won't always put the beginning one. So I don't know what it's doing. Okay, so this one, I hope you remember. Do you remember the storyline where, like, and it kind of came out of the blue to me, where it's like, Hong Kong is actually just leased by Britain and has to be handed back to China now. If you're older, you'll remember this stuff. What year did that happen where the handover was supposed to occur? That is my first question. Do you remember what year the handover was supposed to occur? Now, looking back, I'm really suspicious that this might have been like an early Mandela, because I absolutely never heard that Hong Kong was just leased by Britain. I'd never heard of it. And then suddenly next year they're handing it back. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, how could I have never heard of that? So now I'm even more suspicious. And then I guess the secondary one is what else was handed back around the same time beyond just Hong Kong? Okapis will end up almost as stripy as a zebra. Possibly, that's a good point. I'm just thinking maybe they'll have more weirder stripes. Okay, so for me, it's interesting you guys don't remember. Robinsky T. You actually remember the real timeline right now. I remember it really, really clearly as 1999. And it was only Hong Kong. And it was a very easy to remember because of the year. It was like right before the turn of the century, and also it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of end times talk that's, and they're like, Hong Kong's going to get turned over to China, and somehow that all got rolled into the end times talk. So for me, it very, very clearly was 99. It's always been, and the song, but it's always been 99 for me, and it was even 99 for me like a year ago. So I didn't even realize it switched over to 97, but the reason I figured it out is because apparently there's something else that was handed over in 99 that I've never heard of. I've never heard of Macau having been owned by Portuguese for Portugal and being handed over in 99, and in a similar way to Hong Kong. So, and then another weird story is that, like, I guess China was like slow to take it back. Like, this whole story, I have a feeling it'll change because it's just so confusing, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Was that, like, Portugal wanted to stop being such a colonizer, so they wanted to give Macau back. Okay, so after the Second Opium War, the Portuguese government, along with a British representative, signed the 1887 Sino-Portuguese Treaty of Peking that gave Portugal perpetual colonial rights to Macau on the condition that Portugal would cooperate in efforts to end the smuggling of opium. Okay, so it was kind of a deal struck, so I don't really feel like Portugal went and like kicked butt and took it. Apparently they did try to do that at another time, but this was voluntary. So it wasn't like the colonization of the century. Foreign minister appealed to the UN to remove Macau from its list of colonies, preferring bilateral negotiations ending in return of the territory rather than the independence of the territory as implied by its inclusion on the list. So apparently Portugal, it's kind of vague, but it sounds like Portugal said we just want to let all of our colonies be independent. And China here in 49 said, no, let us have Macau. Let us have Macau. Don't let it become independent. And so, like, I don't know, why would Portugal agree to that? Then in 74, there was a coup d'etat that changed control of Portugal. They turned into a democracy, but even before that, they wanted to stop being a colonizer. The government carried out decolonization policies and proposed Macau's handover to China. So, like, I don't know. It's just weird. Why didn't they just hand it over? I mean, why didn't they just let it be free, but instead they're going to hand it over? Okay. So they said, we'll hand it over to China in 78, but China said no. They were afraid it would impact relations with Hong Kong. Okay. I mean, how would the handover really impact the Hong Kong handover if it was all voluntary? The Portugal government, the weird thing is Portugal wanted to hand it over. Like, you get the impression that Britain had no choice but to hand it over. I should probably look into that, because before Britain's lease was up, that's why they handed it over. They had no choice. that legally had leased the property for that much time, and the lease was up. So, but here, Portugal's like, here, take Macau, take it. And China's like, first they're like, no, you can't be independent. No, we want it. No, we don't want it. The colony. So in the end, though, like they kept trying to hand it off, and China's like, no, 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 until 1999, when it 20th of December 1999. See, so for me, like the handoff started on the 1st of the new millennia. It wasn't the 20th. It was the end of the year. There was and it was part, yeah, okay, I don't know, but that was Hong Kong, okay? Macau was not even involved in any of this. Okay, so now it was the 20th of December 1999. Handover to China took place and became the Macau Special Administrative Region, SAR, of the People's Republic of China. This marked the end of nearly 600 years of Portuguese overseas colonialism. I mean, like, I don't know if it's all voluntary. Is it really like this horrible colonialism? I don't know. Did the people in Macau want to go back to China, or did they want to be independent? If you're just handing him over to somebody else, here's the negotiation story. During the negotiations, Portuguese representatives offered to return Macau in 1987, but Chinese representatives rejected that year, as well as rejecting previous requests for 67, 75, and 77. China requested 97, the same year as Hong Kong. That's what flipped me out, because I'm like, no, Hong Kong was 99. But Portugal refused. Like, okay, it offered all these other times, and China refused, and then China asked for 97, but Portugal refused. 2004 was suggested by Portugal as 2007. However, China insisted for a year before 2000, as the Sino-British Joint Liaison Group in Hong Kong would be dissolved in 2000, as envisioned in 86. Eventually, the year 1999 was agreed on. Not that this makes any sense. I feel like it's going to have to change, because it's like ridiculous. There's no explanation for why China kept saying not yet, not yet. Then Portugal's like, not yet, not yet. 12 years between the signing of the Sino-Portuguese Declaration in 87 and the handover in 99 were known as the transition. I have absolutely never heard of any of this crap. It just, I don't know. It's just blowing my mind. What, nobody remembers anything about this Macau thing? That's interesting, too. I thought people would be like, oh yeah, I remember that Macau thing, or no, you're wrong. But now it's just, you guys are all quiet. That's actually the last thing I expected, frankly. It really is. So, Macau. Where the heck is Macau? Let me okay, hold on. Let me just go over there. Macau. So, it's right over here. It's like here, and I think there's some in there. Dang, look at all these islands and stuff. So, there's Hong Kong. So, it's just this little piddly bit. God, there's all these islands growing up in here, though. So, I don't know what's going on. I think we're just going to get more stuff. Why would it be given, like, why would you give Portugal this little smegma of land over here? I thought Hong Kong was a lot bigger, too. Why is it so dinky? Dang, it is tiny. Actually, I'm really confused now, even just looking. I don't think it looked anything like that. I had just looked at Macau before, and, what the hell is this thing? I don't remember that. I don't know. I'm confused. As usual, it doesn't. Okay, that's still Taiwan. Oh, okay. I think we did. People were confused about this Hainan years ago, but it was smaller than Taiwan. It's almost as big. So that thing has grown. And this knob thing was not here. Crazy town. I think last time I looked at Hong Kong, it was at least like a sticky outie piece, and it was way bigger. Like, dang, it's almost like it's almost like it's just being absorbed or something. That's crazy. It's so tiny now. Taiwan is huge, and Hong Kong is like vestigial. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with all that. It's the Hong Kong is all broken up in bits, and I don't know what the heck. Yeah, Shari, exactly. I'm glad you remember. Remember we did talk about Hainan, like, it was a long time ago, though. It was years ago. Okay, I don't know what to say. Nobody remembers this Macau thing, or what? Okay. Let's go do some animals. So we had, years ago, the long-necked turtle. And we thought that was a big deal back then, in the early Mandanimal days. But now we have a side-necked turtle. So one of the things that I used to say was, like, when the long-necked turtle came out, like, how did it suck that whole giant big neck back in? But now we have this side-necked turtle, and so apparently its neck is more like a snake head, and then it just pulls it in like this sideways and tucks it under the shell. So it doesn't suck it in its neck, but it does act a lot like a snake, than the head does. So at first you might think it's a long-necked turtle, but the head actually has the neck has this bend in it. So see there, it can tuck in then. Didn't want to run too much of it, but so it's got this big long neck. I got to be careful on copyrights, but it's pretty long neck. Let's see if I can find one where it's tucked. So the other thing is there's a whole bunch of kinds of these side necks too. There's not just the one. Like when the long-necked one came out, there was just the one long neck. But so this guy basically, he will put this bend over here, and then he'll pinch this part in there, and it just slots under. So you could see that head. It's not actually withdrawn all the way. So that's the side neck. Let me see if I can... Is there even a difference between long neck? Long necked. I'm actually curious if the long neck still pulls its neck all the way in. Eastern long neck. See, Eastern long neck turtle. There's also now the common long neck turtle. Snake neck turtle. Oh, okay. So the long-necked is the side, is also one of the, they also does that side neck thing. All right, so the long neck and the side neck both do that weird tuck thing. Okay. That, it kind of makes sense to me because I feel like the neck has gotten even longer than when I first saw it. So I guess at some point it's just not going to be possible to keep sucking it back in. Oh, interesting. So now they have a scent emission protective thing. When it feels threatened, this turtle will emit an offensive smelling fluid from its musk glands. This trait gives the turtle one of its other common names, stinker. So in the old days, they would just have like one protective mechanism, and for turtles, that was the shell. So one thing I've definitely noticed is that creatures have additional protective mechanisms. So this guy's got the shell, and it's got the stink option. I don't even remember turtles having a musk gland, but I guess they do now. All right, so definitely an evolution of the long-necked. Maybe I'll do this one next since we're on creatures. Thanks. So this one, let's see, who found, side necks was found by Easy Cheesy 181. So good find, Easy Cheesy 181. Oh, I had one other thing I did want to cover on that, but let me do this one. And then this one, the red-toothed triggerfish was found by Jackie, and not only is it weird looking, but it's got red teeth, and they stick out weird too, like, eh. But then it just occurred to me, like, why does almost everything, I guess everything up until now, have white teeth, but this has a bright red teeth? Like, what's the advantage? And then it just occurred to me, well, there's no reason everything has to have white teeth if this thing can have red teeth, so I would not be surprised if we are in for a spate of colored teeth showing up. Maybe some of it will be, if you eat too much red berries, your teeth turn red or something. So I did try to find any information about why it would be red. Maybe I'll ask the AI. I didn't see anything in here. It just says it has red teeth. That's it. It didn't have any information on why the teeth were red. Why does the red-toothed triggerfish have red teeth? Let's see if the AI can help. Serves as a key identifier for the species. Teeth are continuously growing, worn down through fish's feeding habits. It doesn't say why. I wonder if DeepSeek can help at all. Slightly more useful style of doink. It might think for a long time and give up sometimes. There's been some complaints that DeepSeek now starts everything with "of course." Since the last update, it's getting it's getting ridiculous. The red-toothed triggerfish, commonly known as the Niger triggerfish, is famous for its crimson red teeth. Reason for striking feature isn't what most people expect. They are the natural color of the tooth enamel, caused by iron-rich pigment in the enameloid. The specific pigment is formed of ferritin, which is copper, I believe. Iron. Okay, ferritin is iron. That's right. It's very different from, say, human teeth. For the triggerfish, the red color is permanent. Okay, so iron. But iron, like, iron is not bright freaking red, so it's still kind of weird. Are not unique to Odonus niger. Many species within the Ballistidae, triggerfish, and filefish have teeth with the same iron pigmented enamel. However, in most other species, the pigment is orange or brownish, not brilliant red. Okay, so we're on our way to colored teeth. We've got brown, we got bright red. Well, the bright red teeth may look fearsome. They may play a role in signaling. The primary driver for the evolution of this trait is almost certainly the mechanical advantage it provides. It hardens and strengthens the teeth, allowing them to crush harder shells. Their diet requires durable teeth. Okay, so that's... You can see why I like DeepSeek. It definitely gave a more useful answer than this AI up here, which said, did not give any useful answer. The Airwolf cast death, flip-flopping all over about who died. I don't even know about that stuff, so. First it was Ernest Borgnine. Then it was Jean-Michel Vincent. Now it's John. Okay. Yeah, I don't know the Airwolf thing. Sorry. Wasn't it Macau? Did I say? I thought I wrote M-A-C. Wait, dang it. Ah, now they both look right. Macau. M-A-C-A-U. Macau. M-A-C-C-A-U. I think that was just one C for me. Macau. Yeah, okay. Although the double C looks familiar, so it's kind of bugging me. I'm pretty sure I came from this timeline, though. Oh, they got the fancy stuff over there. It reminds me of, like, that hotel. It looks like, this looks like stuff from, like, Abu Dhabi and stuff. The Parisian Macau. Cotai Macau. Parisian Macau. Wait a minute. Is that a hotel in Paris? No, that's what is this, a Paris copy? The Parisian Macau features a luxury shopping mall, an outdoor pool, the French themed hotel. So they put a like a whole mini Eiffel Tower. So Macau, okay. Dang, when did that thing get built? I was like looking at all this stuff in Macau and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. It's definitely got that Studio City, Cotai, Macau. Dang, look at that. This is crazy town. That, wow. All right, let me just do a quick Google on Macau to see what else is there. It's not even that big a place, and then we have all that. Macau. Special. Okay. I did see this one I was looking before, but I didn't see all that other stuff. Images. Okay, interesting, because I just typed in Macau. Last time I saw a lot of images of this guy. This has got like this gold look to it in some of the images, which I like. I don't know if it's still that color, but I really like that gold shimmer look. This is interesting because this was not on there, and I do like this. And there were no images of that when I typed in Macau. I mean, Macau is being built right now by the AI universe creator. Dang, it doesn't look gold anymore. It was super shiny gold before when I looked at it. I really liked it. I don't remember these green lines at all. This is weird. Okay. I wonder if it's changed since I looked. All right, it's a little bit gold there. There was this image of his like really shiny gold. I just really liked it. I just don't see anything like that now. Ooh, old buildings. You can see this thing is really big. Ah, interesting. Okay. Things to do in Macau. I don't know if that's that building. Dang. The new reality has some neat stuff. Ruins of St. Paul's Cathedral. Macau Fisherman's Wharf. That looks old. So a lot of this stuff is really new. They've got the cool looking tower. So it's not exactly my style, but you have to admit that these are beautiful buildings. Oh, did they change it? Maybe when Portugal coughed it up, they changed it? Oh, no? Okay. I don't even know what to say. Okay. China and Macau Island. That was in 2011. Yeah, I didn't see anything about an official spelling change, but you know how the timeline is. Kitefin shark is the largest bioluminescent vertebrate. I do believe that we have had glow-in-the-dark sharks before. They actually glowed. They actually were glowing. Like, you didn't have to use black light or anything. They're saying now that, like, half the fish in the sea have some level of glowing, which is crazy. Look at those eyes. That's pretty bizarre. I think that might be the one that I had before. Of a glow-in-the-dark shark in 2021. Bioluminescent. Okay. It's interesting because I remember that other image. This one. This shark's grow bright. This is the first one. Previously, researchers knew that some shark species produce a green glow that is only visible to other sharks. But now they're calling it fluorescence. I don't know. I'm not sure on that one. But yes, I definitely remember some years ago there was a legitimate glow-in-the-dark shark, because that fluorescence thing, when it came out, I said, we're going to get a full-on glow-in-the-dark one, and we did. We did get a full-on glow. But I somehow I don't remember that kite fin images at all, so everything will be bioluminescent. Yeah, I'm just waiting. They're already saying that humans make a slight glow. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're like, oh, it turns out if blah, blah, blah happens, you glow more. And then, oh, there's some, if you have such and such genetics, you glow more. And it'll probably be gradual, but. Speaking of the glow thing, I could cover this one. See who found this one. I think this was Jackie also. Okay, so the Macau thing handed over to Portugal in 99. That was found by JoJo's. So good find, JoJo's. I actually found that a couple weeks ago, and then I just didn't get to it last week. Alright, this one was found by Jackie. Apparently now there's a whole storyline that you could use electricity to heal wounds faster. And so they did it in rats, and they found that a wound that took 2 weeks to heal only took 3 days to heal. Plus, it had way less scarring. And this is an example of one of the setup that they're and I've seen there's different ones, like some of them said it uses your own body's electricity, but like helps direct it. So one of the things they were saying is like in the petri dish, the shells are all like just randomly around, and then if they send electricity and a current, then the cells all kind of line up and get organized. And then there's all this talk, well, maybe certain medications screw up your electrical system. And so it seems like we're moving towards like this electrical system, because some years ago there was kind of a talk too that like electrical patterns might guide the growth of trees and stuff. And if you look at trees, they actually look kind of like electrical pattern in their growth structure. And maybe they use the proximity of the other branch electrically to know where to put the additional branches. And I don't know. I don't know. This is interesting. So we might have, I mean, how did we not know this before? Suddenly now, this is 5 years ago. Why don't we, if it really speeds it up by, so then they're like, oh, well, we already sort of do that. Well, you know, I have some friends that have had some nasty injuries in the last 5 years, including difficulty growing back some skin because of the size of the wound and all kinds of things. And there's not been one tiny little itty bitty talk about using electricity to help solve that. So that was like, that one you just saw had just like they just put something around like a bandage, you know, like seriously, can I just get a Band-Aid that goes like that and like heals my wound really fast? It's like we're getting into the Star Trek stuff here. This is a different one. I haven't even read this one. Specially engineered biochip that use electricity to heal wounds up to 3 times faster. Okay, so 3 times faster has been the slowest improvement I've seen for these articles. Those rat ones is more like 4 or 5 times faster. It's well known that electrical fields can guide the movement of skin cells, nudging them towards the site of an injury, for instance. Is it well known? Because I have freaking never heard of that shit. In fact, the human body generates an electrical field that does this naturally. So researchers from I have never heard that is what makes cells move where they go. All right, this is from like 2 years ago. While it might not heal severe injuries with the speed of a Marvel superhero, it could radically reduce the time it takes for small tears and lacerations to recover. So those rats got a 2-week injury. That's not exactly a small tear. Folks with chronic wounds that take a long time to heal, it could be a lifesaver. Chronic wounds, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I think this is like phasing into the timeline, but it is exciting. So that one I was just clicking on, that was a 5-year-old video, and he already had a product he was bringing to market where he'd already researched it on rats with benefits. So you have to wonder what happened to that, but maybe it's still phasing into the timeline. Okay, here's this one's from 2021. By triggering better permeability in blood vessels. Okay, it's kind of a different storyline. But anyway, it seems like we're getting that. Star Trek, here we go. They'll have glow-in-the-dark human parties. Yeah, you don't you don't have to bring your glow stick and you just for your rave, you just are the glow stick. Maybe they'll have something you drink and it makes you glow or something. Reminds me of Star Trek The Next Generation, when Riker's body was attacked by a black thing and it was killing him, and the doctor used electricity to direct the thing to an artificial arm. Here, just jump onto this rat and leave my friend alone. Tesla said, if you wish to understand the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency and vibration. Yes, at least he said that in the current timeline. I don't think I had heard of that until about a year ago. Looks like I missed that one, but okay. Anyways, this one was found both by Dark Wolf and then later by Jackie, which is this black moon thing that's coming up, in a couple days. So there's a new moon color, basically. Oh, I had it highlighted, but I must have clicked and ruined it. Let's see. What is a black moon? This I don't know if I wrote this. A black moon is the opposite of a blue moon and just as rare. There's two types of black moon. A new moon can get that name if it's the second new moon in a single calendar month. This kind, called a monthly black moon, occurs once every 29 months. However, astronomers also use the term black moon to refer to a third new moon in a season of 4 new moons. That particular calendar quirk is what's happening this weekend. It's all down to a new moon occurring soon after a solstice or an equinox. So that's not confusing at all. I mean, like, I can only guess that this is going to shift later and it's going to be the black gold new moon versus the black silver new moon, or some kind of other spawning is going to later occur, because it's ridiculous to have two different situations that are both like, who gives an F anyway? This is the 97th new moon since somebody wore a tinfoil hat on Tuesday when the sun was out. I mean, like, really? Wait, there's a third one? Last time I looked, I only saw 2 kinds of black moon. Oh my god, there's a third type of black moon. Don't remember seeing this when I looked 2 weeks ago. The third of these new moons is known as a seasonal black moon. This type of new moon occurs once about every 33 months, making it slightly rarer than a monthly black moon. Oh my god, you won't be able to see the black moon with the naked eye. Yeah, because it's a new moon, which means you see nothing. The best way to get a good look at blah, blah, is to find... Alright, well, that's a bunch of other stuff. Anyway, black moon, whatever. That's a new thing. A new old thing. I don't know, that Tommy J, it just says message retracted, so I don't know, they posted something, retracted it, and then they're gone. They're just labeling the moons all these colors. I don't really get what we're getting at. Like I've said before, I wonder if eventually it'll really be that color. Like there'll be some weird story that, like, well, in the equinox on such and such season, there's an unusual like reflection of the light off of the universal corona, which causes a slight red tinge, and then, you know, there'll be some weird story like that, and then makes it look reddish. And okay, who found this one? I think this was Jackie again. Yes, the Great American Worm Wall was found by... Oh, no, this was found by Easy Cheesy 181. I think Jackie might have also covered this one at some point. I think I was thinking of doing this, like, weeks ago, and, like, multiple people have said, hey, what about this one? Flesh-eating worms. Ew. So this is a weird story because supposedly up until the 60s, these were the scourge of the United States. I've literally never even heard of the freaking things, but so unlike normal worms that, like, if they're sort of like a bot fly or something, like a fly that lays their eggs in flesh, but the thing is that normally those things aren't that destructive to the animal that they're laying on. So like they might, if there's some like infected area, it might get on there or whatever. But these things apparently, they just get in any little tiny little cut, and then they just eat, and then they eat all the way to the bone, and then animals die and their bones are exposed while they're still alive, and it's like super gross and destructive, and like tons of your cattle would die. They'd go through like belly buttons. It's absolutely disgusting sounding. Okay, so apparently these were everywhere. And then the farmers got together and said, let's drop these sterilized, I think it was the flies, actually. So they're basically a fly, then they lay their eggs, and then the real destructive part happens then as those eggs hatch and eat. So this is interesting because I don't really even remember in the 70s any talk ever of having like specially sterilized males, or any of that kind of thing to control parasites or pests. I've never heard of that until maybe the 90s, and then it was sort of like a theory. Maybe we could try it out. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. And I think it was on mosquitoes that they were talking about doing it. And then I didn't really hear much about it, so I kind of thought, yeah, maybe it didn't work because I haven't heard diddly. But now we actually eradicated the screwworms out of the entire United States and pushed them all the way back to Panama in the 60s. So there really shouldn't be any doubt that this this sterilized males ones could work. But part of the storyline here is that the females only mate once. So if they mate with a sterilized male, then that's it. They're not gonna, like, that's it. The chance is over. You lost. So the story now is that we breed these things, like bajillions and bajillions of these sterilized male flies, and we dump them on Panama, and that is like the line that we hold against these things and try to stop them from getting here. And recently some showed up in Florida and nobody knew what they were until they finally figured it out. But then they eradicated it again by dumping a gajillion of these sterile flies again. It's just weird to me because it just feels like, you only need one successful mating and it starts all over. But I guess they just keep dumping the sterile flies, bajillions of them. I'm just really suspicious of the story. I'm not really loving the fact that now apparently we have a wall of these absolutely disgusting creatures supposedly sitting there in Panama waiting to take over. So they're basically flesh eating. They just eat you, like, voraciously. The other thing that I've been hearing a ton of lately is this whole flesh-eating bacteria thing. It used to be super rare that you would have like necrotizing fasciitis. Lately, somebody I know on YouTube or on Facebook even said that they had an attack of it, and that's somebody I know. So it's not this super rare thing anymore. Ugh. Last I checked the necrotizing fasciitis, they said these are just normal bacteria, but for some weird reason they turn into flesh eaters too. So why don't Eva see my message? I didn't look at it yet. I don't know. I see you asking why I didn't see the message, but I don't know if I... Oh, yeah, it says message retracted. I don't know. It says message retracted. It should only say message retracted if you retracted it. Unless YouTube retracted it, because I don't think we did. And if one of the wrench holders does it, it says like deleted or something. It doesn't say retracted. Retracted is when like you retract it. So Because if they delete it, also I can click on it and see it again. I have that power. But if you delete it, if you retract it, I can't see it. I have no choice. And right now I can't. At least that's how it was before. Tommy J's was retracted too. I don't know what's going on. Both people I don't know and message retracted. So I don't know. Maybe YouTube has it out for you. But see there, I see, it wasn't me. I don't know. Yeah, see, Shari, because, like, it doesn't have the right message for you to have deleted it. Maybe you said something and YouTube hates you. I'm sorry. Palace Cats Underground. All right, well, you got that one through. We've had those on before, the Palace Cats. They're very interesting looking. I think they've gotten more chibi looking, if you know what that means. More. I do think their faces have kind of underground burrows for shelter and hunting, often resting in crevices. Interesting, because they have a little bit of a... it really looks like some anime character. I feel like their faces have changed some. I'm having trouble explaining it. I think, they had way more fur out like this before. I had looked at these a while, not too long ago, thinking they had shifted a little since I first saw them. Is that also a palace cat? I'm not sure if it is. Okay, this... even there, I feel like there was more long hair. And they looked a little... the face... that is just a different look on the face. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. That guy's got some kind of weird... assuming it's not an AI. They actually had more character when they first showed up. I think they really look like some kind of grumpy dude. Not that they have none now, but... that's a little closer. Right. It looks like they're growing stripes on the side, because a number of them have that now. Is it like growing while I sit here watching? Because is it going to be one of those kind of nights? I swear I looked at some of these and it did not have the stripes, but now that I'm looking, they all have it. All right, that was a little subtle in that one. Maybe I didn't see it. But, you know, come on. It's almost like growing in front of my face here. You can see the black lines on those. I feel like they're phasing in right now. What the heck is that? The Andean mountain cat. Okay, that's a different beast. All right, supposedly those are baby palace cats, maybe. All right, that one doesn't have such prominent stripes. See, I'm not totally crazy. It does definitely look like these stripes are phasing in, though. There's definitely no face stripes before. Janus cats. I know we've had Janus cats on before. Oh, that's the two-headed ones, yes. Seems like they're getting more common, too. That one is really cute. That one's heads are split more, too. That might be a thing where the heads slowly split out more and more till you get like a full-on two-headed cat. Somehow I thought we would get the Cerberus two-headed dogs first, but it looks like the cats are going to be first. Ah, that one's pretty old. So is there like 2 cats in there with 2 brains and everything? Lives 12 years, setting new record for Janus cats. Look at that eye. One big long high eye. 2 mouths, 2 noses, 3 eyes. Cleft palate makes it difficult for them to nurse. Yeah, you know, I don't see why you couldn't just put a droppers of milk in there. Like, it wouldn't exactly be the first kittens that got fed by bottle. I wonder, is there's 2 brains in there? Or does it work as one? Not as bad as 2-faced humans. Well, you know, we have that 2-headed human now, which is actually 2 separate brains and everything. And there's more than one now, 2-headed human. 2-headed dogs. We have 2-headed humans. We gotta have 2-headed dogs, don't we? 2-headed dog. There's gotta be something. All right, now we're not ones we made. That's too freaking creepy. Yeah, actually, I'm kind of surprised if we don't have any because we have humans already. 2-headed human. Let's see. I don't know if you guys have seen she's probably like in her 20s now. Where did she go? All right, I'm going to be mad if this doesn't show up. Google. I mean, there was a whole documentary on her there. Conjoined twins. Yep, that's them. Crazy, huh? I don't know if you guys haven't seen that one. There's that one. So these other ones just kind of showed up in my reality. Okay, that one's new. That was the one that blew my mind when it showed up. So there was a whole, she was already like 16, and then they're like, well, we wanted to wait until we were older. I think that's a different batch of them. I'm trying to see if it's the same one as these ones. I don't think Katie and Ailish was the names. Anyway, there's a bunch of them. I know. Baby born with 2 heads. Yeah, see, this one is Abigail and Brittany. So Katie and Ailish is a different batch. Okay, there's one in Peng. So they're all getting born now. That one's Bangladesh. There's like a Janus cat person. So I'm actually surprised that there's no doggos. 2-headed dogs. Dog. Canine. I don't want to see that. There's one where they did medical research along that line. I don't want to see that. Okay, and most of these are jokey ones where they're just dogs piled on top of each other and it just looks like it. Yeah, see, these are just 2 pushing on each other. Okay, so, I guess we're not getting that yet. So there's Cerberus. This is why, because there's this famous character known as Cerberus. So I just feel like when I think of 2-headed animals, I always think of Cerberus. Oh, there, maybe? Rare cuteness unleashed. Okay, I think they're just shoving on each other then. Stop. Stop. No. Ugh, that's why I hate TikTok. See, I could end up with a copyright strike because of their yapping. I think people could freak out over dogs being that way. Like, I don't know. There's humans. There's humans like that. Yeah, I know you did, Jackie. I know you meant two-faced like and, you know, sneaky bad. But it just reminded me. All right, so we did this one. We're at 120. This is an interesting one. It's not really a Mandela, but I'm just going to put it on here because I think it might be a stepping stone to some stuff that we're getting in the future. Okay, so for me before, one of the reasons that they weren't able to just learn much from your brain by just putting a skull cap on. Because they said, like, the signals inside your brain there was too many little small ones, and they weren't able to kind of pick up individual movements and stuff inside the brain. So they couldn't really learn a lot by just trying to analyze the way the brain worked from the outside. And I don't know if that's changed or not, or we just have better tech. But basically, this chick has been able to put like a kind of a device that reads biofeedback of some type in her brain, and I'm a little lost on how exactly she's doing it, but she's able to do that. Now there's nothing wrong with her. She's just doing it like a hobby. I guess she does the sciencey job, and then she loves video games, so she decided to make like a portable Neuralink thing where she puts this on her head, and then she's trained herself to be able to move, like somehow feed signals into it to play video games. Now, some of the video games she still uses verbal commands and head motion, but she also is using her actual brain waves or something, and it doesn't really exactly explain, but apparently she's quite good at this, though. She doesn't suck at all. She does a really good job. So, a Twitch streamer, Perry Karyal, and that's right there, her Twitch channel. I don't really watch Twitch. They're calling it an EKG headset, but when I was watching the video, it said it was EEG. Uses software to convert her brain signals into controller inputs. She's beaten several of From Software's best, but recently gave Jump King a go. I guess Jump King is a very difficult one. So she still did well, but Jump King, I guess, is just difficult. And so she didn't totally kick butt because it's very difficult to do. It's just very interesting to me. I feel like this might be like a stepping stone to transhumanism. Normal people plugging their brains in and controlling a computer and having some kind of a direct feedback conversation kind of a thing. It's like step number one. If you can actually be really good at playing video games doing this, then I think more and more people are going to jump on it too, going like, I want to play video games by the power of my brain. And I could totally see why this sounds fun, because like, say you could just use the power of your brain to drive, and you know, just sit there and just go, I want to go this way. And, you know, I mean, I could see how this would be fun, but yet at the same time, it's kind of scary because I don't want to actually be permanently plugged into the computer, but yet it does seem kind of exciting to have a chit chat. And so, that's one of the reasons this one kind of freaks me out, is because as much as I'm against transhumanism and I don't want a brain implant, somehow this sounds like it would be really fun. And I don't even like video games that much. And so that's one of the reasons I'm like kind of shocked at how fun this sounds. Even for me, it just has this weird allure that I feel is outsized from what I would expect from myself. Vivian's going to bed. Good night. So, wanted to cover that one. This one is just icky and creepy in a way that a perpetual stew. Let's see who found that one. Kind of spacing out here. I'm pretty sure it was Jackie that found that. Yes, Jackie found Perry Karyal uses EEG headset. Okay. And Jackie also found Perpetual Stew. So what is a Perpetual Stew? I have literally never heard of this thing. But apparently it was done often in the old days. And also known as Forever Soup, or Hunter's Pot, or Hunter's Stew, is a pot into which foodstuffs are placed and cooked continuously. The pot is never or rarely emptied. The ingredients and liquid are replenished as necessary. Such foods can continue cooking for decades or longer if properly maintained. The concept is often a common element in descriptions of medieval inns. Foods prepared in a perpetual stew have been described as being flavorful due to the manner in which the ingredients blend together. Various ingredients can be used, root vegetables, blah, blah, blah. I see, like, I am struggling to really get this. I guess if you say you had a really busy restaurant and you put, like, you had 3 of these going and you put some new ingredients in here while you were dishing out of that one, and then if the turnover was so high that within a few days all of the old food is pretty much out somehow, but what I don't get is, like, if you didn't get all the old food out every few days, you're gonna have this, like, if you ever overcooked meat in a stew, it's tasteless and, like, it's just it's not good because all the flavor goes into the soupy part, and then the piece you're chewing is like and it's nasty, so I could see, like, maybe if you strained out, like, all of the hard parts and pitched it and you were just keeping the stock going, and then if you had enough turnover that bacteria could never get far, but somehow this just thing, I don't know, it's just bugging me. I've never heard of this. I'm kind of having trouble imagining why this would be any good to do on any kind of regular basis. A tradition of perpetual stew remains prevalent in South and East Asian countries. So, like, my friends that were Vietnamese, yes, you would, maybe you would cook the stew all day to really get a good stock going on, and then maybe you would take some of the stock and, like, you would have it in the fridge. But I have never heard of any of this perpetual business. I have literally never heard of anything like that. Yes, you do want to kind of, you put the bones in and then you get all that marrow out and you give it some time, but not perpetual. Dogs can't be two-headed because they'll bark at each other. I don't know. I think if dogs grew up with the other one stuck next to them, they'd get used to it and they would stop barking. I don't know. Yeah, see, Linda, that's my thing, but I've see, I don't know any of you East Asians or anything ever heard of this thing. It's supposed to be a tradition. I've known plenty of Asians, and literally there's nothing like this ever. my friends, we were pretty close, and they used to tell me all the weird stuff that they had in their, like, it was just, I found it really interesting, like, all the weird foods that they ate. And, like, some of my friends were Chinese, and he would tell me, like, well, we had this weird worm that you could dig up and eat, and all. I'm like, and you cook it like eggs and all. So they told me all this weird stuff. So this would not have been the weirdest thing. And I was actually pretty good even back in the day about not going, ew, you know, even if in my mind I was thinking that's kind of gross. I was very polite about that stuff. And being very polite about that stuff meant that I get told all kind of stuff, like everything, because I would never, like, make fun of anybody or anything. I mean, this is not the grossest thing ever, but somehow it does not sound like I would be comfortable with it. And when it comes to foods, you know, you do want to be comfortable with the concept. I mean, like, there was that one on I had before where they would take rocks and cook them and say the rocks added to the flavor. Frankly, that sounds less gross than this, because at least you could get those clean and stuff. I don't know. Tradition of, so that's the only thing I can think of is you just keep eating it fast enough, then the bacteria would never really get going, because there would never really be that old a stuff. And the only other thing I can think of is if the fat source was saturated, like, that stuff doesn't really go bad that much, like lard and tallow and stuff. But then you have all those carbs and stuff, so bacteria love carbs. And I just can't quite. I just imagine you put it in there and then you pretty much scoop all of it back out every few days. It would be okay then, but otherwise, no, I don't see it. Still not over Chinese black 100-year-old eggs. Yeah, they're really not 100-year-olds. It looks like it's some kind of fermentation process where they put the eggs down there and I have actually tasted one of those because, as I said, I had many Asian friends and they would have these at their parties, like where they really wanted to have a good party. They'd have those. And I did not hate them. I did not like them. It was like, I'd rather not, was the kind of thing. It didn't taste anything like normal eggs. It didn't actually taste like rot, though. It tasted really sour, if I recall, and I'm not a fan of sour food. So, they all ate it. They didn't keel over. It didn't actually taste, it did not smell like rotted. It didn't, some things you smell and you're like, no, I just don't want it wasn't like that. It was very sour. I think it might have been some kind of fermentation, like sauerkrauty. I don't like sauerkraut either because it's sour. I'm just not a big sour fan. I will eat it, but I'm not going to eat a lot, and I'm never buying it on purpose, kind of a thing. So that was my thing on the eggs. Yeah, perpetual soup. Now, if they said, okay, this is some rare thing that they do in the backwoods of Wanga land or something, like, okay, I don't know. But they're all saying that they all did it and it's a big old tradition, and I'm like, yeah. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, Jackie found that one, so good find. Who found this one? This is also Jackie. The Heart of Vo. Woo! Sounds like something from Doctor Who. The Heart of Vo. So apparently this is a natural thing, a natural formation in the form of a heart located in the mangrove forest in the commune of Vo, New Caledonia. It gained worldwide recognition when photographer blah, blah, blah put it on the cover of his book. Come on, who wouldn't know about this thing? You'd have to wait for it to be on a book. Okay, so I looked on Google Earth. I gotta go back to it now. Heart of Vo. Doink. Let us move over. So there it is. According to Google Earth. We set to north. 2D. Of course, there's this whole storyline that climate change is going to ruin it. I do not think it has been there that long, frankly. Are we going to get some more of them maybe in here? Then the next story will be these just happen to grow in this shape because of a certain flow of the water and blah, blah, blah. And I wouldn't be surprised. All right, so New Caledonia. That's up here by us, well, down here by Australia. It's getting pretty big. Just kind of looking at Australia. I think this region has gotten even darker than when I looked at it a couple weeks ago. This area is getting huge. The other thing I haven't really looked for a while, but like it's all kind of fringes up here. Like all this fringes, it's this especially, I don't think this was here before. Arafuracy. So I'm kind of looking. I don't see any buildings or anything yet. I think this might be rather newish. We'll be waiting for buildings to show up on here. I mean, it looks like it's big enough to take buildings and stuff. Okay, it's got a name. Gawa? What the heck is that? Okay, so we have a little airstrip. Gawa Aerodrome. It looks like a big strip of dirt. That's the aerodrome. Maybe more will show up eventually. Okay, there is a road here. So you land here and what? Drive around? Yeah, there is a road. What's this? Yeah. A turnaround spot. Camp spot. Every little distance there's that. This one doesn't have anything though. Not yet. If we follow the pattern though, this is gonna like attach more and the houses will show up, and then you look over here, it's gotten really fringy over here too. So looks like it's just sand, but these little islands, I don't think we should be surprised if wow, look at the, I'm actually surprised at how well the resolution is on this, because what's this? Interesting. So Australia, you're going to get some neat stuff. That looks neat there. It's over here, and hey, why'd you do that? Every now and then the mouse just kind of suddenly moves on its own lately. I don't know if this thing is dying or what. I was here earlier looking. Oh, this. I'm like, it really wants me to know about Norfolk Island or something. I don't know. Is that like how we find out the new things? Because, I mean, look at how huge. It's like in boldface. Papua New Guinea is boldface. Solomon Islands, boldface. Vanuatu. But then all these little tiny things, like, why is Norfolk Island all bold? It looks like there's hardly anything there. There's like a couple houses. I don't know. I just wonder, how does it decide? I've been down here before, and all of a sudden, Norfolk Island. Is the Mandela wanting me to notice it? I mean, it's darker than Auckland. Auckland seems like it might be a slightly larger city. Wallace and Futuna? Is that going to be a big deal? Because look at how huge the writing is. Maybe it's going to be another one of those resort islands. We'll start hearing about Wallace and Futuna. Seems like the resort islands get these really weird names. I've had real Chinese before. What do you mean, like food or the eggs? There's a million kinds of Chinese food. I mean, just like any, just like American food. There's some of it I really like, and there's some of it I don't like. So that's kind of the same thing with Chinese food. But I usually will like Chinese food. Ugh, the cat's one in. Hold on a sec. Oh. You want in here, kitty mouse? Was it just one of you? Okay. There you go. What a good kitty. You want to go on the camera for a second? You're such a good kitty. Here's the kitty. What a good kitty. She's getting real chill now. She's like, whatever. Alright, I'll put you down. Used to be I'd hold her up. She's like, uh-oh, what are you doing? Now she's like, whatever. I had a Mandela effect for you, but my brain won't let me remember. I've had that before. I'm like, I had something I really wanted to say, but somehow I can't remember. Didn't we have a heart-shaped thing on the top of a mountain somewhere years ago? I don't recall anything right now. And this one I don't think is on the top of a mountain. It looks like it's pretty low. The giant pink bunny in Italy is known as Haze. Okay, it's a sculpture though. Alright. Norfolk Island belongs to Australia. Why is it got so much huge writing? More animals are using money. So I have seen the one where they put money in a backpack and the penguin walks, and then the shop owner knows to take the money and add a fish, and then the penguin walks back. Kind of surprises me is that the penguin waits until it gets back to eat, but... Well, because the sculptures, there's so many crazy sculptures everywhere now, so I just can't cover them all. I mean, there's millions of them. And most of the time I can't say they're a Mandela because they've only been there like 5 or 10 years. A whole floor of a department store in Madrid changed this week for my niece and her husband. So are they in on board with the Mandela now after that? How does that happen and somebody not accept the Mandela? I still can't get over the animal bird with the machine gun noise. Yes, that's that, what is that? That new giant long-legged bird. It's, I can't even remember the name of it now. But yeah, it makes like a machine gun noise with its beak. So when it first showed up, it was just the bird. And then the face got weirder and weirder. And then they're like, oh, and it makes the machine gun noise with its beak. That showed up like maybe just a few years ago, the last bit. So last I heard, like, they had trained crows to, like, pick up money in exchange for a snack. And I'll tell you, we joke a lot about that at the house. What if you train birds to just steal money from people? Give it a snack. And I'm like, you know, they're going to notice if a bunch of birds are coming to your house with money in their beak. So they're going to know you train them. If they would just pick it up off the ground, but what if they pick it off tables and stuff? Here, I'll give you this little berry if you bring me $10. Monkeys, I have not seen them using money. I think they steal everything in this timeline, though, little monsters. You know, animals weren't such horrible, rude thieves in my old time. Like, gulls are really obnoxious here. Monkeys. So when I was a kid, they didn't. Those seagulls did not like actually rip fruit out of your hands when I was a kid. So the storyline is that they, oh, well, you know, their interaction with humans, they got more aggressive. But, I mean, humans have been around for hundreds of years. It just seems a little suspicious. I might have bought that storyline if it wasn't for the Mandela, and I'm seeing that, you know, even alligators use tools, and they're definitely evolving. So I think that that is actually the real thing, is that it's like a side effect of the Mandela evolution. Instagram is full of videos of dogs using leaves as money. I mean, I've definitely seen dogs go, here, I'll give you this toy if you give me your sandwich. That kind of thing. So, I don't know. You got to watch Instagram, because they'll train dogs to just do certain behaviors, and then they'll write up a storyline that makes it sound as if they understand money, but really they're just being directed. Like, you can direct dogs with just hand signals. So if you're behind the camera and you're going, and dogs will do all kinds of stuff. So that's the other issue. You got to be really careful about these videos. That doesn't mean, though, that maybe they're faking this timeline and in a couple shifts it'll become real. So that's why I never really know exactly how to even judge a video anymore, because videos that were fake now may not be fake next week. I think it's odd but adorable that animals come to humans to help them when they're in trouble. Yeah, see, I just don't know how true that is. That did they just have a pet raccoon and they stick a bottle on it, and then it comes to you because you're the owner of it, and they just videotape that? So, I mean, there's been a lot of examples of fakery like that in the past. Like, if I put a jar on this cat's head, it probably would come to me right away going, take this stupid jar off. So if you had a pet wild animal, which a lot of people do, especially in this timeline, you could get that. Or you could, you know, they might take that video 20 times until that animal finally responds as they want, and then they just upload that one. So I never know really how to think of those. So yeah, the seagulls, a number of years ago, I went out to the beach to go snorkeling, and I put my bag on a blanket and everything super valuable in there, and I went snorkeling. I came back and my shit was all over the place, and I was like, who's the a-hole? And it turned out it was the gulls. The gulls had just like went, not food, and they kicked my stuff. Luckily, I was able to find it. Stuff was in the sand. It wasn't even on the towel. And they never did that when I was younger. They would have, maybe they'll hop around and kind of peek, but they never would take your cell phone. They wouldn't take your cell phone and just fling it. So it's crazy. So I guess I just have to like have a padlock on now. Yeah, so the other thing is that the seagulls, when there was a storm or something, they used to fly inland. And that was always a thing, like, oh, there's going to be a big storm, because we would see them flying way in, like, by my house. And they don't ever do that anymore. It's just, you don't even see, I haven't seen them in years in here. Unless you go to the coast, you do not see them. But they used to come way inland. Yes, kitty. What, did you want something? What? You want to come up here? Do you want some petting? She's getting more demanding now. She's like, give me the petting. I want it now. Never had that. Let's see. Let's look at seagulls. Sometimes she gets mad when I'm poking on the computer instead of petting her like I'm supposed to. Oh yeah, that black stuff on the tail. I remember. So they just had some gray. Looks like their bodies got whiter too. You want down now? There you go. Nope. All right, seagulls. No, not seagulls, but of ring-billed gulls. All right, well, that's not helping me. Flock of seagulls. You know what? I need to find an image. Ah, common informal name, not taxonomic. Okay, seagulls of... You know, I've looked these up before and I don't remember them saying that they're not a type of gull. So it seems that perhaps they have split into more species and now they don't have their own name. Seagulls are not their own thing anymore. Seagulls of the Bay Area, California. California seagull. All right, California gull. Yeah, I don't think this was a problem last time I looked it up. There's definitely been a split. They have their own. No. Because I grew up in the Bay Area. That's why I'm checking. There is no effing way that the California gulls had speckled polka dot tail feathers. This is ridiculous. This is 100% baloney. There's no way. Breeding adult. The non-breeding adult has it also. This is just a load of crap. Okay, no. There's no. All right. It looks like there's polka dots on the wingtips, black wingtips. This is a load of hoo-ha. Okay. This one does not show speckles, though. This one has a ton of speckles. Regional differences. The gulls in the Great Basin. Great Plains. Okay, that must be some other species. What is even going on here? Which one is which? California gull. Medium-sized. They look like a herring gull. Well, that doesn't help me at all. Yellow legs. More rounded body. Winter plumage. Okay, so there does seem to be some weird speckles going on here. This is weird because there's white in the back. I've never seen them like that. Some speckles. I don't remember there being a black tip beak either. You know, we used to just see these things all the time. It was like just... Okay, so the blue ones... Of course, there's no legend here to tell me what the blue ones mean. We didn't have a winter-summer plumage either. This is weird. All right, California gull. Although named after California, it can be found across most of the western North America, from Canada to Mexico. All right, well, so it looks like I've had the same gull all along California from what I can tell by that map. I was thinking maybe the gulls up north are different than here, but it looks like it should be the same gull. There's some new storks. Yeah, a lot of the weird new giant birds are storks. Short video titled "This Crow Brings Money to Its Owner." I think I've seen that one. If that's the one where they trained it, basically, if you bring this, put a quarter in here and a snack comes out kind of thing. There was a guy that had trained, it seemed like more than one to do that. Eagle changes. Well, there's a whole bunch of weird eagles. They have the weird sticky uppy thing. All of them. what eagle was that? The bald eagle now has nests like the size like 10 feet across, which is ridiculous. They did not have 10-foot. It's like some kind of crazy movie. They did not have 10-foot nests. Eagle nest. All right, let me find so they have these communal nests. They do the same nest over and over again. There was an image of a guy on the nest, and it was just insanity. Of course, now I can't find it. I think that the eagles themselves got bigger, too, and that's part of it, but... Here it is. Doink. That's pretty blurry. Can we have a non-blurry version? There. So apparently that's like the size of an eagle nest. So they took this eagle nest and they probably had to trim it to get it out. Or I don't know, maybe they recreated it. But that is like the size that they are now. Maybe not the first year, but what they're saying is that they just add more and more stuff to it every year, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. There was one image where they showed the guy like climbed up into a real nest in situ, and they showed it. Spelled it wrong. Okay, this guy's rescuing a baby eagle, so that's not the world's biggest nest, but... Okay, climbing to eagle nest. You can see the size there. Return baby bald eagle during storm. Alright, that shows the size there. Anyway, some of them are like, I guess if the nest has been there a long time, they're just completely ridiculous size. Look, there's a... He looks like he's being hatched in the nest. They didn't used to... Oh, that's a harpy. That's one of the creepy new ones. Harpy eagles. There, harpy. Yes, those are very creepy. Yes. I keep seeing some tiny brown and white bird. It seems to be some sort of gull. You know, even the local birds, they've changed themselves too. So even, and then their songs, like the crows have more sounds they make now than they used to. Like there was some weird sounds. I'm like, what new bird is making that sound? Because I've never heard it, and then I heard it multiple times in a week. So I'm like, I got to figure out what bird's making that sound. And look, it's a crow. And they've been making it now for a couple years, that same sound. So it's not just like one crow. They just make that sound now. There's a whole Emmy of the bald eagle not being the U.S. bird till recently. Seriously? Okay. Really? That's not a thing for me. It was always... Now, there's been some changes where it now is like this weird... seabird. It goes way up to Alaska in the snow. It wasn't like a fishing bird for me originally. It was just would catch whatever. Bald eagle. Maybe some of the younger people have a different timeline. Let's see what comes up for Mandela effects for bald eagle. that the bald eagle was not officially designated as the national bird. Seriously? I do not know that one. That's interesting. That is a distant timeline for me. This false memory, blah, blah, has been the emblem since 1782. It was not formally named the national bird by law until recently as status. That's a load of bullcrap. No way. A Minnesota man's effort. No. No. This is a good Mandela. There's no way that wasn't the national. This is from 8 months ago. The guy who fought to make the bald eagle the national bird again has been trying since 2010. Every person he spoke to in the government to try to get it done thought he was a lunatic because no one believed him that it wasn't the national bird. No way. The bald eagle has been... It appears in many government institutions, making it the most pictured bird. So I guess what the story is that everybody just thought it was, but it wasn't. That just sounds ridiculous. The bald eagle isn't actually the U.S. national bird, but Congress may soon change that. 8 months ago. That's ridiculous. This is so ridiculous. Oh my God. Congress is trying to change that. That was the end of last year. So it wasn't the national bird. I mean, it was on the wiki. It was in every book. It was the national bird. It has been the symbol, but it wasn't the national bird. The House of Representatives passed a bill officially designating the bald eagle as the country's national bird. Now it needs President Biden's signature to become law. Today we rightfully recognize the bald eagle as our official national bird. Well, what was the bird? Then we didn't have a national bird? How bald eagles became America's unofficial bird. The original proposed seal depicted a small white eagle. Thompson recommended be replaced with the bald eagle, a species native to North America. Congress adopted the design in 1782. A Minnesota eagle specialist lobbied for their recognition. This just sounds so bizarre. Okay, so what? It just now became... It didn't sound like they've even... Did he even sign it into law? That was the end of last year, did it? The bald eagle finally becomes the USA national bird. On December 24, when President Biden signed it into bill. Okay, so December 24 is when it... You know what? I'm really, 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 really suspicious about that. The bird I saw is the size of a cardinal. I don't know. If you don't put up a picture up, I mean, there's like millions and millions of birds, so... The Stork-Eagle War, 1934. All right, hold on. I gotta go soon, but I'll put this in. The Stork-Eagle War, 1934. Is that what you wrote? Oops, that's not what we want. We want this. $8 months ago, you told me about it, Jackie? I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't know. Oh, yeah, the owl with the red eyes. That wasn't that long ago. Yeah, eagles are bigger. And their nests. At least the bald ones are. I don't know. I don't know if that was me in that timeline or another me. Maybe I even covered it on the show and don't remember because that was a different me. I woke up this morning this week and the sky had failed to load. Just a blanket of gray. I don't know. Wait, you said this. Where is that one about the stork eagle war? I just saw it a second ago. Now I can't find it. Didn't somebody just say there was the stork eagle war? Right. I'll just put that in. Storks and eagles. Eagles and storks engaged in a lengthy battle in 1934. Really? Despite the initial losses, storks, through secretive communication, managed to safeguard their young. Is this real or is this some weird story somebody made up? What the hell is, what's up with that giant, look at that neck. That's so creepy. They didn't have that floppy a neck, did they? Eagles were outnumbered and out-organized. And the storks gained the victory. Storks defeat eagles. Flocks of storks and eagles. With the result of depredations by the eagles. It seems that 6 eagles ravaged a stork's nest, carrying off the young. Then the storks amassed for vengeance, and when about 300 strong attacked the kidnappers. In the battle that followed, 12 storks were killed and 50 wounded. Of the 60 eagles that took part, 20 are estimated to have been killed. What the heck? The Stork Eagle War of 1934. Ah! Well, they're making us look good now. Or not as bad, I should say. Humans don't look as bad if storks and eagles are doing it. The Stork Eagle War of 1934. That is bizarre. You know, in the old days, I would have written this off as just some fanciful baloney, but these days, stranger things have happened. All right, I think we're about done. I've never had a war. I know! Everything's going to have wars now. It's like, quit copying humans. It's not that good idea on this stuff. Purple skies, red skies, yellow skies, gray skies, what sex? Some years ago, there was a weird purple, like a lavender sky. It was a storm thing. The green skies have been taking over. I've been seeing a lot of images of green skies around storms. That is bizarre. It's really green, too, not just a tiny bit. So I've seen the purple. It's like a lavender purple, but it was pretty purple. And we've already got blue. Yeah, what colors are left? I think all the colors have been covered. Green, purple, blue, yellow. That's everything. I think we've had all the colors now. All right, anyway, it's time to go. It's after 2. So thank you, everybody, for coming. And thank you for all the Mandelas. I think I actually covered everything. Yes, I did for once. So organized, sort of. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.